stop me now, they won't stop me now, they won't stop me, no. They won't stop me now, they won't stop me now, they won't stop me, no.
Hello and welcome back to We Are Mighty. I want to get it out of the way before we get started, so thank you for tuning in. Thank you to those who have subscribed. Thank you to those who listen, who watch, who have joined our social media pages. We really love you, and we're so excited that you have decided to join this journey along with us. So how y'all been? 2 weeks, as usual. Sometimes it seems longer than others, but as usual, it's been a long 2 weeks for me. A lot going on, new job, just craziness. And I guess you can call it an epiphany recently when I ran into someone that I hadn't seen in a while. It's a young lady who I've known, you could say, since childhood. And it just so happens that this young lady, she lost her son back in 2022, August of 22 to be exact. And I remember how devastated I was when that happened, to find out that it was her son. And I was thinking, Lord, please don't let my baby be next. Please don't let anybody in my family have to deal with this type of devastation. And I remember being very, very, very protective of my sons, who were grown and not home, but still, where are you? What you doing? They had to share their location, just trying my best to make sure that nothing happened to them, everything within my power. And of course, as them being grown men, my power wasn't very much at this point. My influence was, yes, but whatever they chose to do is what they chose to do. So I remember the rest of that year, I can't really recall many losses that hit me like that young lady's son did. And I kept saying, I got to reach out to her. I got to make sure she's good. So I would send her messages here and there. And I'm not going to lie, I fell off after a few months. And then came 2023. In 2023, I could not believe, looking back, the devastation that I and people close to me dealt with. And I remember people always said, oh, death happens in threes. And, I never understood the logic behind that. But, that's what it always was. Oh, yeah, it happens in threes. Just watch, just watch. And I looked back over 2023. There was a 10-year-old girl who went to my church who passed away in June. Exactly 1 month later to the day, my son died in July. A very close friend of mine died in September. A young lady who had been fighting for her life from an incident that had happened a year before, she died in November. And then one of my son's friends died in December. So that's, 6 people in 7 months? 5 people in 6 months? What happened to it happens in threes. It happens when it's going to happen. That's just the gist of it. But that's a lot. That is a lot to deal with. And these are people who I have a closer connection with. As a matter of fact, I have a connection with every mother in those situations. Every one of those deaths, I have a connection with those mothers. The crazy thing about those deaths, one of them was due to an illness. The rest were due to preventable things. and all except one were due to violence. That's crazy. We know that violence in our country's gotten out of control. The violence in the state of Illinois has gotten out of control. But it really, really hit home for me last year. And it's still going. There's still things happening. There's still people close who are passing away, and still things that are just devastating me. But it made me think about the fact that we are now, all of the mothers of those people and I are now part of a club that nobody would want to join. There's no application. There's no list of qualifications. The only qualification is enduring the worst thing a parent could experience, and that's the loss of a child. And see, you can't choose this club because nobody would choose it. You can't pick this club. It picks you. And it's weird how now if we see each other, the way we greet each other is different. No, there's no special handshake. Usually it's a hug. A hug that's a little bit longer than that, what they call the church hug, when you run into people. Hey, how you doing? Tap real quick. It's intentional. Without words, we're letting each other know, I feel your pain. I'm here for you. I hate that it happened to you just like I hate that it happened to me. And now, of course, other people know that we're in this club. Unfortunately, when you're in this club, people treat you a little bit differently. Not necessarily negative, but you can tell that they treat you differently because of your membership. They may hug you a little longer than normal, or the question is always, how are you? How you doing? How you holding up? And I think they genuinely want to know. Because I think for a lot of people, they definitely don't want to be in that club. So they want to know what it's like for you. Maybe to pray for you. Maybe to be there for you. To try to help you get through it as best as they can. Because unfortunately, it's a lifelong membership. Now there's other charters or chapters, if you will. Siblings, friends, other family members. But this club is a little bit different. The feeling of being a part of this club sets you apart from the other loved ones who have lost along the way. Because as the saying goes, and it's not just a saying, I mean, it's very true. No parent should ever have to bury their child. And so it catapults you into a new lifestyle. It catapults you into a new forever, a new life, not only lifestyle, a completely new life. A life where you don't know from day to day how you'll feel. You don't know from day to day what will trigger you, if you'll make it through that day without breaking down, if you'll make it through that day without just a moment of devastation. It's not easy being a part of this club. But I can say that it's opened my eyes to some things I didn't realize, some pains I didn't realize, and wish I never had to. But it helps me to relate to some people. And it helps me to try to reach out And the thing about this club, we as members, we're in different areas, different stages, if you will. We handle things differently. I know the young lady who lost her son in 22, she still doesn't want to talk about it. She's still completely devastated, and I understand. For me, talking about it helps. I can't hold it in because it would just eat me alive. That doesn't mean her level of grief is different from my level of grief. It's just her way of dealing with it and my way of dealing with it. I know that myself and the mother of the young lady who fought for a year after being shot, we are creating foundations, support groups, so that we can reach out to others in our community, so that we can help them as we are helping ourselves. Because it's not that I'm just so strong that I can sit here and talk about what I've been through, losing my baby, and I'm fine. You know, we discussed before how sometimes the camera goes off and I just lose it. But I also know that I'm not the only one who's dealing with grief. I'm not the only one who's hurting. I'm not the only parent who lost a child. And I won't be, unfortunately. And so I just thought about this club and how the membership just continues to grow. There's no way to say, hey, I don't want to be in this club anymore. We can't vote you out. There's no officers, no president, none of that. It's just a group of people in the same boat, if you will, all dealing with having lost a part of us. So I pray daily for people who are in this club. And those people don't even know I pray for them. And I don't do it for them to know. But I know it's hard. And I know somebody's out there praying for me. And there's more that I plan to do. More outreach, more education, more support. I even have a rage room. Old dishes, just take a hammer and break them. Whatever it takes to relieve some of that pain, to relieve some of the anger, even if just for a moment. That's my contribution to the club. And of course, this podcast. Because I know that there are members of this club who I don't know, who I may never see, who may be nowhere near physically where I am. And this contribution is still helping you. And I appreciate you joining and listening to my journey. I hope something resonates with you. I hope something helps you. That's the whole reason for it, to help me and to help you. So I think about Zakia, aka Chaz. I think about Carletta. I think about Tisha. I think about the people who I know, who are close to me, who are a part of this club, who never wanted to be here. I want you guys to know that I pray for you. And this episode, it's dedicated to you. It's dedicated to the mothers who unwillingly, involuntarily through no fault of their own, are part of this horrible club of grief. The Grieving Moms Club. Sounds cute, but it's nowhere near it. Miss Lily, I pray for you. Bianca, I pray for you. And these people may not even see this episode right away, but I know all I have to do is ask, and they'll see. But even if they don't, it's in the atmosphere. The prayers don't have to be heard by them, as long as they're heard by God. And I do still pray for siblings, friends, families, anybody that's had to deal with this devastation, especially violent crimes. It's one thing to go through an illness with a loved one. It's still sad to lose them. But to have a loved one taken from you, that's just some kind of different hurt. And that's the only way I can explain it. It is some kind of different hurt. It makes you sick in the pit of your stomach. And you're in a pit that takes a while to climb out of. And just when you think you are at the top and you see the sunlight and you're about to pull yourself up, you slip and fall right back in. Maybe not as far down, but you fall right back in. I understand. I'm here, if only virtually. So if you are watching this and you have not been unfortunate enough to lose a child, take a moment and pray for those of us who have. Again, not saying your grief isn't important, not saying losing that job wasn't important, because I could do a whole episode on losing my job and the grief that came along with that. But that one, I can bring myself out of eventually. That club, I don't have to stay in. This one, there's nowhere to go. It's a life's journey. It's a grief journey. And so far, I feel like it's gotten better. I feel like the load has gotten a little bit lighter, but it'll never fully change. The dues we pay in this club would be our feelings, would be the triggers, the pain, the memories. That's what we pay in. Not sure what we get out of it yet. I think I ran out of analogies. But we owe it all to grief. I often think and wonder, why me? Why my son? Why? Even why some of the other people around me? Why Dominique? Why did she have to lose her daughter? And I can't come up with an answer. But then, of course, it's why not? I'm not above anybody else. I'm not better than anyone else. Again, we don't pick it. It picks us. And it's what we do with the situation, how we handle it, that determines how our membership in this club goes. Will it be turbulent? Will it be mad at the world forever? Will it be encouraging? You know, people always say, oh, you make it look so easy. Oh, honey, it's not easy. It's not easy at all. I'm just one of those never let them see you sweat type of people. So, although in the back of my mind, I may be screaming, I may be crying, I may be cussing out the world, I try to keep calm. And that's how we determine how it's going to go. That's the one thing we do control in this club. How our membership goes. So to all of the parents out there who have dealt with this kind of a loss, keep your head up as best you can. Keep their memory alive. Keep yourself sane. Take care of your mental health. It's so important. And that goes for women as well as men, minorities as well as majorities, however you want to call it. If you're a Christian, you can have Jesus and a therapist. Trust me, it helps. Especially if you have a therapist that just lets you vent. I'm constantly apologizing to my therapist because I'm not as calm as I am on this podcast. And I have very colorful language. But he's always understanding. Try it. One visit, maybe. You'd be surprised at how helpful just 1 hour talking to someone unbiased, someone who won't judge you for feeling the way you do, someone who can give you tools to deal with your emotions, to deal with your feelings, to deal with this grief. How helpful that can be. I promise you I won't steer you wrong. To other family members, do the same. I know I'm focusing more on those parents this time because that's the boat that I'm in. And I dedicate this episode to the parents who have lost loved ones, the names I mentioned, Dominique, Chaz, Carletta, Bianca. I don't want to keep naming because I may miss some people, but I dedicate this episode to you because being in this club ain't easy. Being in this club can be fulfilling, but it can also be draining. It can be hurtful. It can be all of that at the same time. But we're in this journey together. I pray for you. You pray for me. Again, I thank you for tuning in. We're here every other Friday, wherever you listen to podcasts. And you can watch us on Spotify and YouTube. Reach out to us on Facebook at the We Are Mighty podcast page, or you can email me at wearemighty, spelled out WEAREMIGHTY 24 at gmail.com. And all you do, be true to yourself, be strong, and be mighty. We'll see you next time.
They won't stop me now, they won't stop me now, they won't stop me, no. They won't stop me now, they won't stop me now, they won't stop me, no.